The world is ripe for a revolution. You can feel it. The average U.S. home is now more unaffordable to the average American than at any point in history. A new study finds that a minimum wage worker in 1971 had a lifestyle affordability similar to someone making $100,000 today. Only 14% of voters believe they are getting ahead financially. People online, people around you, yourself, you can sense that there's a louder and louder uproar. There's a greater and greater awareness around what's happening. And what's happening is the fiat system. That's the underlying root of the reality, and the system that we're sensing is not serving us. Fiat. What that fiat system is, that's exactly why I'm excited to share what I share, to express what I express, to take what I've learned and discovered and share it with anybody, everybody. I've studied money for over 12,000 hours. I literally did the math from the start of February 2022 up to June 2026, a little bit over 4 years. I did the math on how many hours I had spent learning about money, studying the current system that we're in, exploring and discovering Bitcoin, and being absolutely blown away by both sides of the spectrum. One being how detrimental the fiat system is to the world, to you, to families, to being able to buy a home, to developing countries around the world, which is why in my upcoming book titled The Bitcoin Thesis, in chapter 8, titled Why Bitcoin Matters, the main portion of that chapter is dedicated to the IMF and the World Bank, because that is the most sickening aspect of the fiat system that I've come across. Most people never hear about the IMF or the World Bank on the news. You don't read about it. You don't see it on CNN or even Twitter. You don't see what happens in Togo or what happens in Bangladesh as a result of the IMF and World Bank. And that's how the fiat system operates, in obscurity, in fancy acronyms that prevent you from looking what's underneath them. Complex language that discourages you from deepening your exploration of the fiat system and the monetary reality that you're in and the roots of it. It is so sickening to see the fiat system. And the worst part, the most devastating part, to me at least, is to see it everywhere I go. To drive in the United States of America, 750 miles on a road trip, and everything off the highway for me to eat, to grab something and keep it moving, everything is slop. It's sickening slop that makes you unhealthier in the process of buying and eating it. It's poison. And it's because we have poisoned money. It's everywhere. It's the way our politics operates. It's the obscure, corrupt, divisive energy that benefits the people at the top. These are all extensions of the fiat system, because the fiat system is at the root of this reality, of this monetary reality specifically. And when you really get down and when you see it, the energy of a revolution builds inside you. You start to gravitate towards something that can be a solution to this at the root level. Not a new politician, not a new regulation, not more taxes, not less taxes, not this side, not that side. The money, the root of the monetary system, the root of the monetary reality you're in and we're in. The money. What can be a true solution? And the reason my book is titled The Bitcoin Thesis is because the thousands of hours I've spent studying money has led me to believe that Bitcoin is the true solution to money. And I don't know if you know a Bitcoiner. You've probably heard of somebody that's really into it, and not crypto. Not, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money in XRP. Oh, did you see Ethereum, what it just came out with its proof of stake system? No, no. I'm talking about people that understand the fiat system, people that understand the root causes and the properties of the fiat system and are interested in Bitcoin, which was designed to, one, dissolve the root causes of the fiat system, but also introduce a new set of roots that are incorruptible. That's the base layer of Bitcoin. It can never be taken over. Central authorities can't control it. Nobody can print new money with the stroke of a pen or the typing of a few digits into a computer. It's an open source, transparent protocol for the entire world. The base layer of our monetary reality in the Bitcoin world is permissionless. Nobody can say no because they're in control. That's how nature works. Nobody in nature is permissioning actions. There's no central regulator of nature that says the wind is going to be this much today and the tide is going to be here. Nature itself is the regulator. And when you get into Bitcoin, you realize that it also is a self-regulating system. It is a mirror of nature in monetary form. You learn about the difficulty adjustment, how Bitcoin reaches consensus, proof of work, all of these things that make up the fundamentals of Bitcoin that ground it into this new system. It comes with new language, proof of work, decentralized, cryptography, nodes and miners. It has its own language, and people are learning it, as anybody does with any language, with any new thing. We started learning the language of planes, not immediately all at once after planes were created, but as they spread throughout the world. And people became interested in using them because they were valuable, because they were a way to transport ourselves from place to place more efficiently. Bitcoin is a way for us to transfer our value, our monetary value, across space, scales, and time more efficiently. That is the purpose of money, to transfer value across space, scales, and time. When you get into the fundamentals of money and you learn what the functions of money are, what the purpose of money is, and what the properties of money are, you start to see how fiat falls short and how Bitcoin doesn't. You start to see how Bitcoin fulfills every monetary property that we could ever ask for, especially on the network side, which is the most underlooked aspect of money across its entire history and is actually the reason why we've never had truly sound money, because we never had a network that protected the money. Gold was the best thing we had, but ultimately it's a rock in the ground with no monetary network preventing goldsmiths in England from fractionally reserving it and issuing paper money past the true amount of gold. There's no network that verifies transparently how much gold is in existence. You have to trust that the politicians are telling you accurately that Fort Knox has the gold that they say it does. Transparent verifiability is what Bitcoin introduces, an actual network to money that, one, provides transparency and verifiability for how much money actually exists. We can see and verify at any time that our money has not been inflated, that the system and the reality and the energy we're in is not being debased, that our time, energy, and value is not being taken from us. And that's just one aspect of it. The second aspect is making the network, the system, the money incorruptible. That is the root core problem with money for thousands of years, whether it's the denarius in Rome, gold, whether it's fiat in the 20th and 21st centuries, or agribeads in West Africa in the 14th and 15th centuries. Every single form of money that humanity has ever used has been corrupted because there was never a network that protected it from corruption. That is why Bitcoin is so transformational. That's why the Bitcoiner that you likely know that talks about the truth of money and wanting to fix the money and not financial greed and I'm going to get rich quick. I'm going to create a new crypto token that you can buy to make a bunch of money really fast. No, let's actually change the money that we're using because the money we're using is the root problem. Let's change the money we're using so we can shift into a new monetary reality based on freedom, truth, and if you really want to know the fundamental reality of Bitcoin and the reality that it opens us to, love. And when you get to that point, you realize that this revolution isn't like the revolutions that we've had in prior human history. This revolution is peaceful. It's not violent. It's not war-ridden. We're not taking over territories. We're not fighting another nation because Bitcoin is apolitical. It's borderless. It is neutral. It doesn't have an army behind it. It doesn't have a government budget behind it. It exists on its own, separate from all of those entities and all of those financial chains. It can't be fought over. There's no conquest that can take over Bitcoin. The fight is actually over who can perform the most proof of work, who can harness the most energy and align it with Bitcoin in the truest, deepest, most prosperous ways. Because if you do that in the Bitcoin system, if you harness the most amount of energy in the most efficient, cost-effective ways, you are able to perform more proof of work, and you are rewarded for it in the form of Bitcoins from the network. More proof of work, more rewards. More harnessing of energy, more rewards. And the story of human civilization throughout time is a story of harnessing more and more energy. That proof of work, that energy that someone is harnessing and bringing into the Bitcoin network is what's protecting the network. It's what's securing the network. It's allowing the network to verify transactions. It's allowing the network to run as it's designed to. You don't have a bank saying this transaction is okay. You have proof of work. The whole thing runs on proof of work, which is something that has many layers, but that's why there's layers to these videos and this expression. It's not all going to be encapsulated in this one piece of content. The reason why I'm making this video is because I had the idea and the resonance that the people in the world are ripe for a revolution. And I've been especially feeling that over the past 2 months or so. But then I realized that the revolution that is the root revolution, fiat to Bitcoin, is a peaceful one. And that message was something that I wanted to share because when people hear revolution, they think violence, they think destruction, they think revolt. It has this charged type of energy. But a revolution, to me at least, is a group of people coming together and saying, we're not going to put up with this anymore. And we're going to do whatever it takes to fight for a change. And the word fight there can easily be interpreted as violent. But what if the fighting is to simply stop putting energy into the fiat system and instead bring it into the Bitcoin system? And that's all it is. It's not holding fiat currency, it's holding Bitcoin. It's not giving your attention to the fiat strings and the fiat narratives in the fiat system. It's giving your attention to Bitcoin. It's to start learning the language of the new system. Because your whole life, you've been learning the language of the fiat system. And you haven't even really realized it because you've been in the system since you were born. You never made the choice, oh, I'm going to learn about the fiat system and the US dollar or whatever my fiat currency is. No, that's what you learned at government school. That's what's always been the basic nature of your monetary reality and your reality in general. The fiat money existed, and that's what you used. That's what people used. It was as basic as the alphabet. You never made a choice. Nobody ever made a choice in 1971 for the dollar to be removed from gold. The people didn't have a choice. Fiat means by decree. That is what the origin of the system is. It is a system decreed upon the people, not chosen by the people. And who are the people that decreed it? The people at the top. And there's layers to that too, which will just fuel the revolution even more. But I made this video because the revolution is peaceful. And when you say fight, it's not taking over a government. It's not inflicting violence on someone else. It's switching from one money to a different money. And in doing so, if I go on an exchange, if I find someone in my local area and I buy Bitcoin and get rid of my fiat in the process, there's no sword that's drawn. If I start accepting Bitcoin at my business, if I start paying my employees in Bitcoin, if I start asking to be paid in Bitcoin, if I start asking businesses if they accept Bitcoin, none of those actions are violent. I have fiat, now I exchange it for Bitcoin. I bring it into self-custody, I own my keys. I own money that can't be debased. It's not controlled by anybody else. The system that I'm in cannot be manipulated. I have money that can't be corrupted. Really, what Bitcoin is, it's a revolution of choice. And choice, selling my fiat for Bitcoin, is not just a monetary exchange, it's an everyday, everything exchange. Not giving energy to the fiat system is also not giving energy to the things that fiat produces, like the slop restaurants on the side of the highway. That is a fiat produced energy. I give energy to regenerative farming instead of conventional farming. And I do that based on what I give my money to, based on what I learn about, based on what I share with other people. That's the simple mechanism. If the world stopped giving energy to conventional farming and started giving energy to regenerative farming would be everywhere. Our land would be healthier. Our food would be much more nutrient dense. We'd be working with the land and with nature, which is the fundamental flaw with fiat, that it's misaligned with nature. If we stop giving energy to fiat and we start giving it to Bitcoin, that same type of conventional to regenerative happens with money. It's not a violent transition from conventional farming to regenerative farming. We're just changing how we use the land, partner with the land, and work with the land. We're making a choice to do something more aligned with nature, because nature is an intelligent force, and misaligning with it is unintelligent. The way is nature. And when we align with it, whether it's regenerative farming or Bitcoin, we become the beneficiary of that intelligence. We get better at producing things. We progress in our technology and the prosperity that we create. We create AC units, air conditioning, so someone can be in Texas or Florida or anywhere and go inside and be cool and be at peace. There's prosperity in that. There's love in that. There's security in that. And that's something that we created as we progress through time. And when we align with nature, we progress naturally because that's what nature does. It gets more intelligent over time. All of this is a product of nature, learning from itself and growing over time, which is what nature does. It makes mistakes. It says, okay, how did I not align with nature? Okay, what can I do next time to align with nature? And you take those learnings and you move forward. That's life. That's learning. That's being a parent. It's nature. The progression from fiat to Bitcoin is a progression of nature. We move from misalignment to alignment. And when we align with nature, we become the beneficiaries of its intelligence and we prosper. We get innovations born out of our natural creativity. We get AC units, we get airplanes, we get peace, we get security, we get love. We get the space and the time and the energy to express, to share things, to dance, to sing, to create, to simply be an expression of nature as ourselves, which is all that nature wants us to be. When we align with nature, whether that's monetarily or spiritually or physically, we become the beneficiaries. Someone that aligns with nature in a healthy way, they dial in their circadian rhythm, they start eating healthier, they move their bodies every day, their cells become healthier, their being becomes healthier. They become a beneficiary of aligning with the intelligence of nature and what it gives to us. The same thing is true with money. And that's the whole point of fiat to Bitcoin. We revolt against fiat in the fiat system by simply not choosing it, to halt the giving of our energy to the fiat system. It's like, nope, foot off the gas, making a right turn. Then pressing the pedal of our energy in a different direction. In that choice, In that non-violent dedication and expression, we give energy to Bitcoin and the fiat system depletes, it fades, and becomes obsolete. It loses energy. Anything that loses energy decays, deteriorates, dies. Anything that gets energy grows, expands, proliferates, survives, whether it's your cells or the money. If we want the system and the reality that we live in to change, then change the system at the root level. Stop giving energy to this system that's causing this reality. Start giving it to a new system that causes a different reality. Learn about how this old system causes your current reality. Learn about how this new system causes this new reality. I've spent thousands of hours learning about both, about how you can stop dedicating energy to fiat and start giving it to Bitcoin. That's what I'm excited to do, is to share what I've learned on both sides of the spectrum. And I can't decree it upon you. I can't make you see it or force you to see it. If you see it, you see it. And if you get it, you get it. You'll get it if and when you're supposed to get it. It's not in my control, and I wouldn't want it to be. I want it to be a free choice made by you, a free expression of your energy, whether or not you stop giving energy to fiat and start giving it to Bitcoin. I can't wait to create more video content. I can't wait to start my series, 365 Days of Exposing the Money System. Peeling back the layers of fiat, taking you underneath the acronyms and the complex language and into the stories, the origins, the properties, the effects of fiat. And in doing so, you'll start to see the other side of the spectrum. As a natural reciprocation of gaining awareness on one side, the pendulum of attention will swing to the other side. And the beautiful thing, the fun thing, is that the revolution is here.